Adam Schiff is not only a stone-cold, hopeless loser, but he is one of the most corrupt, one of the most shameful, one of the most heinous individuals ever to serve in public office in America. And everything he's devoted his life to has been debunked, discredited, and discarded. He literally represents the face of failure. His sole achievement in life was fighting a losing war against Donald Trump, and now President Trump is in the White House, and Adam Schiff is the leader of a dying and dethroned movement.
Had Fox News existed and been essentially the state-run TV during the Nixon era, there might not have been an impeachment of Richard Nixon. But there is this whole echo chamber that supports whatever the president says. What I find so astounding about the last year is how much this deeply flawed president could remake an entire political party in his own image.
Now tanks in the streets. You know, I mean, I laugh too. I mean, it's a funny premise. Comedian, we like a premise like that, ha ha ha. But it's not really funny. The idea, because you should not get used to the look of tanks in the streets.
Trump just torched Adam Schiff, and not just for the usual lies. Oh no, he obliterated him for cooking up chaos out of nothing. That's right, Schiff's been stirring his usual cocktail of paranoia and spin, and Trump finally snapped. But hold on, the real shocker? It's not Trump, it's Bill Mahr. Yep, Hollywood's favorite liberal mouthpiece, Schiff's old buddy, now turning on his own. Mahr just called out the left's hysteria, the fear-mongering circus, and their desperate obsession with Trump. And let me tell you, this betrayal hits like a political nuke. The Democrats thought they had the narrative locked. Instead, one of their own just flipped the script. Strap in, because this unraveling alliance is about to set Washington on fire. Let's get into the drama they don't want you to see.
But we do need to be mindful of the much bigger challenge facing the country right now. And that is, there is a systematic undermining of our system of checks and balances. Brick by brick, the walls are being taken down. The wall between the White House and the Justice Department, the way we are demeaning the press, and as you say, we're suggesting that there is no such thing as objective fact anymore. The way the administration says that a judge that rules against us is illegitimate. These are ways in which they're doing enormous damage to our system of government.
Schiff came in swinging, bashing Trump's justice system like he's the moral compass of America. Hilarious. Coming from a guy who stood by while Biden's team crushed dissent and silenced the press, now that his party's out of power, suddenly it's a crisis. But here comes Bill Mahr, slicing through the hypocrisy and serving Schiff the reality check he's been dodging for years.
And now tanks in the streets. You know, I mean, I laugh too. I mean, it's a funny premise. Comedian, we like a premise like that, ha ha ha. But it's not really funny. The idea, because you should not get used to the look of tanks in the streets. We don't have that look in America. When I've seen that look anywhere else in the world, it's never been good. And to me, this is like, let's get them used to that. Tanks in the streets.
Yeah. Bill Mahr goes off script and straight for the jugular, telling Adam Schiff to his face that the apocalypse isn't coming, no matter how hard he and the media try to sell it. He drags the left's fear factory into the spotlight, mocking their insane claims that Trump's about to roll tanks through DC like some cartoon dictator. Tanks? Really? Mahr's had enough. He slams the scare tactics for what they are: reckless, divisive, and downright dangerous. This isn't just bad strategy, it's political suicide. And here's the killer blow. Mahr warns that all this panic porn only helps Trump. Cry wolf too many times, and when the real threat comes, no one's listening. Schiff looked stunned, because when you're drowning in Trump derangement syndrome, reality hits like a freight train.
Among the most difficult to deal with is the fact that people now simply get their information from different sources. Had Fox News existed and been essentially the state-run TV during the Nixon era, there might not have been an impeachment of Richard Nixon. But there is this whole echo chamber that supports whatever the president says. What I find so astounding about the last year is how much this deeply flawed president could remake an entire political party in his own image.
Schiff wasn't just gunning for Trump, he came for Fox News too, furious that they dared to break from his worn-out, cherry-picked storyline. And that is the core of the Schiff playbook. Shut down dissent, crush any voice that strays from the script. If you don't echo their talking points, you're a threat to be mocked, smeared, and erased. Forget debating ideas. Schiff and his crew go straight for character assassination. It's not about truth, it's about control. But here's the kicker. Fox News, whether you love them or loathe them, speaks for a massive swath of America. And when Schiff tries to bulldoze that voice, he's not exposing bias. He's exposing fear. Fear of losing the narrative. Fear of losing power. And guess what? Fox didn't roll over. They hit back hard.
Adam Schiff is not only a stone-cold, hopeless loser, but he is one of the most corrupt, one of the most shameful, one of the most heinous individuals ever to serve in public office in America. And everything he's devoted his life to has been debunked, discredited, and discarded. He literally represents the face of failure. His sole achievement in life was fighting a losing war against Donald Trump, and now President Trump is in the White House, and Adam Schiff is the leader of a dying and dethroned movement.
Adam Schiff's crusade to stop Trump? A total flop. As the top Democrat on the Intel Committee, he promised bombshell evidence of collusion, then delivered nothing. The Mueller report blew his claims to pieces. Instead of facts, Schiff served headlines, twisting quotes, cherry-picking data, and turning serious investigations into political theater. He didn't expose Trump, he exposed himself. And now, his legacy isn't justice. It's spin, scandal, and shattered credibility.
There's nothing new. We just get to hear Adam Schiff lie and rant and stuff like that, ask for more witnesses when it was actually his job, and he decided not to do it.
Well, Senator, when you say there's nothing new, obviously Democrats would push back and say, let's hear from John Bolton. Let's see if what he said in that videotape last August, where he said the phone call sounded like he was almost saying it was perfect or cordial, went very well, as the president has suggested with the Ukrainian president, or what he says in his book is true. Why not bring him in, hear something new, and settle this once and for all?
Well, first off, it'll never end. But they had the chance. The Democrats in the House had the chance to subpoena John Bolton. They're the ones that decided not to subpoena John Bolton. They're the ones that have decided to rush this case through, and then they said, oh, now we want you to go through the process of calling John Bolton.
That's what happens when your entire agenda is built on smoke, mirrors, and spin. Adam Schiff hyped up John Bolton like he was the missing puzzle piece, the ultimate Trump slayer in the Ukraine saga. He shouted from the rooftops that Bolton had to testify. But when the moment came, Schiff suddenly ghosted his own demands. Why? Because behind the scenes, it became clear Bolton's testimony might not play along with Schiff's carefully scripted drama. One wrong word, and the whole impeachment show could collapse. So what did Schiff do? He backed off. Fast. The same guy who begged for Bolton to speak suddenly didn't want to hear a word. Truth wasn't the goal, controlling the narrative was. And the media? Silent. They let the flip-flop slide like it never happened. But the public? They're waking up. The double standards are glaring, and Schiff's political theater is wearing thin.
Adam Schiff lies again. What will the Senate do about it? Adam Schiff lied again. And we'll get into this a little bit more detail. And Politico actually was the website, a very liberal website that broke the story. And the story is this. That an oligarch whose name began with Z, who had ties to Burisma, in fact may have been the chief dog over at Burisma, an oligarch, that Adam Schiff was trying to tie Trump surrogates and Rudy Giuliani into pressuring the president of Ukraine, whose name begins with Z too. But it had nothing to do with the president of Ukraine. But Adam Schiff had made that representation yesterday on the floor of the Senate to the senator.
Remember this disaster? Adam Schiff's obsession with taking down Trump sent him spiraling into a conspiracy-laced fantasy land. At one point, he linked a Russian oligarch to Trump just because the guy knew Rudy Giuliani, and wait for it, his name started with the same letter as the Ukrainian president's. That was his smoking gun. You can't make this up. From there, Schiff spun an even wilder tale, accusing Trump of using this oligarch as some secret go-between to push shady deals with Ukraine and Russia. No hard evidence, no credible sources, just imagination on steroids. This wasn't oversight. It was a political witch hunt wrapped in a spy novel no one asked for. Coincidences were twisted into proof, and facts got buried under theatrics. Once again, Schiff showed he'd rather feed the frenzy than follow the truth. The result? More chaos, less trust, and a public tired of the circus.
Okay, and finally, new rule. Someone must tell the usual suspects on the far left that the saying is, when you're in a hole, stop digging, not keep digging. Talk about doubling down on what got you fucked in the first place. Even the one concession I've heard a few people on the losing side offer, that liberals should stop saying the Trump voters are stupid, comes with a kind of unspoken parentheses. We know they are stupid, just don't say it.
Adam Schiff needs a reality check and fast before his Trump fixation destroys what's left of his party. The nonstop smears and wild conspiracy theories didn't stop Trump. They handed him the keys to the White House twice. Writing off millions of voters as brainwashed only digs the Democrats' grave deeper. True respect isn't about pandering. It's about brutal honesty and actually listening. Schiff's condescending attitude is alienating the very people they need to win over. Trump didn't break the system, he exposed its cracks. If the left keeps living in denial, they won't just lose elections, they'll lose their grip on America's future.
I got bad news for you. They don't have a monopoly on stupid. You wear Queers for Palestine t-shirts and masks 2 years after the pandemic ended. And you can't define woman, I mean person who menstruates. You're the teachers' union education party, and you've turned schools and colleges into a joke. You just lost a crazy contest to an actual crazy person.
BILL Mahr didn't hold back when he called out Schiff and his allies for why they got crushed at the polls. Their outlandish policies and fringe ideology. Top of the list? The left's obsession with redefining gender to the point where they can't even say what a woman is. That wasn't just confusing. It was straight up alienating. For everyday Americans juggling bills and family life, this woke mental gymnastics felt detached, elitist, and downright ridiculous. Not the progress they wanted. Mahr nailed it. If you stop making sense to regular voters, you lose them. Fast. You can't preach science and then dodge basic biology questions. People saw through the nonsense, shrugged, and walked away. Now the left is stunned they lost ground. Maybe instead of blaming Trump, it's time to rethink the message. Schiff's fear-mongering and political theater blew up in their faces. Mahr's brutal reality check exposed the cracks in the left's facade. If Democrats want to come back, they need less drama, more honesty, and a serious dose of common sense. Because right now, voters aren't buying the chaos. They're craving the truth. That's a wrap for today. If you liked this take on woke politics, hit like and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching. See you next time.